Any experience of writing essay in past in UPSC? Written. So, what was the status? Mm-hmm. 96. Hmm. Any experience? This year you are good. This year you are clearing. No experience. State PCS.
Last year
85. No experience. No experience. Hmm. So anyone from online who has experience of writing essay in UPSC and secured 100 plus? So, or any, let's say, any experience, just to ask. Hmm. So hope ki you all are writing mains, although it is very strange question for this year. So it has done something like we say tehas nehas, ulta pulta, isn't it? तो सन्नाटा हो गया है ऑलमोस्ट मार्केट. सो कोई ठीक नहीं है कि किसका होने वाला है किसका नहीं. ऑल्दो इट इज नाउ सेटल्ड कि 74 73, मतलब हाउ मच लो इट विल गो दैट वी कैन नॉट टेल, बट एटलीस्ट 75 प्लस तो it नहीं होगा. This if we consider कि it is more difficult than 2023 and this year CSAT people also, you know that. So many people are not clearing CSAT. If they are doing good in GS1, so CSAT is not good. So that has been like 23 CSAT was not that let's get disturbing. Paper 1 was disturbing, but this year it is. Anyhow, so AC is also a bit, let's say, not that unpredictable, but yes, a bit challenging, especially when it is a philosophical type and all those philosophical type, and even let's say applied topics also they expect you to write in a philosophical way, that way. So we'll just try to tell something. Try to keep the thing simple first, not to make it complex, and then we'll move towards that complex one also. This so we'll divide our this session into 3 parts. Let's So we'll start with when you write essay from there itself. The last 2 steps are basically nothing but preparation stage. But still we have divided into 2 parts. We'll start directly from this. When you write, so how exactly you write. And from there we'll try to pick up the things and come to this, that way. So that you can learn something. Then before we take, let me keep it like this. There is a simple way to write essay and there is a moderate way and there is standard way. Standard can be, which is something what we say ideal. So simple way is that you don't know anything about how to structure, how to write this, that, isn't it? And you go simply with open mind, you write essay. This. And you may have heard that some people went with open mind, they wrote essay, they got good marks. Right? That is how it happens. So this is something, let's say that it worked, but once. Right? it may not guarantee that next year the person writes. So he may maintain that level of marks. Right. Like let's say I know a candidate who just got 124, but he did not write any single essay during mains time, and he just went in examination and just he wrote with open mind whatever he comes on the way. But you know that many people who prepare for essay, they may not secure 124. This, so that is what we mean by simple. Simple you can consider like this, and it is like innocence in your answer, because you don't know, so you will try to write a piece of article basically. And essay is, that is how essay basically in original sense. It is a piece of article written in 1200 words, 1000 words. If you can write, you can engage examiner, you can be analytical, you can express yourself the way the theme is, so no any other things needed. We don't need this, we don't need this. That is how. But then basically we don't want to go that way. We want to plan, learn, improve this. And we aim to achieve like this when we have basically time. This. So that is how, let's say that we will try to keep. So there is no any funda, let's say I will tell at the end of the day, a candidate can go with open mind and can write, but yes, it can be risky as well. This, if 10 people go with open mind, they write, so it is not necessary all 10 will get marks. This way. So why I am saying is that yes, then when you start planning to moderate to standard one, so there can be an element of artificiality in your essay. Because we are learning to write. The naturalness will be somehow getting affected. That is how. So, but still, let's see, we don't have other way out. We have to learn something because it is not natural in us. It could have become natural in us if our academics were designed in that way. No, by the time we complete our academics, at least graduation, at least 10, 15 essay we have written in our life. But our academics are never designed in that way. Even if they are designed, you write college level essay, but that is not an essay at all. If you see the UPSC, the way UPSC demands, so somehow there will be an element of artificiality, but then we don't have option but to learn this. This is how we'll say. Why we are saying, because even if whatever we are going to teach you, tell you here, you can just reduce it to 0 level, you can simply go by this. That way, but that demands guts. This, I want to take that risk, मैं कोई फंडा नहीं follow करूँगा, ये नहीं करूँगा. This is how the market, you know that. This, why? Because essay is nothing but, if you read the articles, आजकल newspaper वैसे लोग ज़्यादा पढ़ते नहीं, isn't it? But if you read newspaper, in newspaper, any such editorial is nothing but a short version of essay. The editorial that they write, it is a short version of essay. That can be, we have not counted, but it can be, let's say 200, 300 words. The essay is about 1200, 1000 words. Or the article written on that, some articles can be like essay type. Some articles are very factual, you can see that. This, but essay does not demand that much of factuality. This, some articles are abstract type, that is how essay demands, but not too much of abstraction. So I will tell you that if you suppose find problems with this, still this is the option. This, because essay in original sense is only this. Right. Why we are trying for them? Because it is not natural. We have no naturalness in us, so we have to learn. When we learn, some nuances we introduce, some techniques we introduce, some of the things we introduce so that you can also improve as others have done and they have improved. This is how UPSC preparation. So that is how we can consider. So let's take the first one, that is called writing essay. So when you write essay, so what you do, you select topic, this, then you have its, you try to say its meaning, this meaning you can say, or theme we can say. And next we say that structure you adopt, this you adopt particular structure of this essay. That is how the three things you do at very basic level. This, now the question is, when you select your topic, so then question, when we will go to the next understanding level. That is how many a time after selecting topic, writing or middle of the essay, you realize, oh, I should have not selected this. This, are you lost content on that? ठीक है, और flow let's say that की, or after let's say की writing coming out of this, results come where you have pondering on that, you find I was not able to have a right selection of the topic, because you know that it can change the course of the essay. That is how you have to learn the second and third stage, which can help in selecting a right. It can help in selecting a right topic. This, which is very important. Then second is that ki meaning and theme. Let's say ki are you able to know the central meaning of this? This, or what we say is that ki central meaning you can say, or you can say essence. What is the essence of the essay? What exactly it wants to give a message? Or what exactly it is demanding that I should focus? The way we read other such questions and we try to understand. And that is what we can consider. Then ki what structure I should follow, how I should write this, which a long piece of, suppose you are writing 1000 words, how I will structure it, this, and that structure has simple introduction, body, conclusion, let's say that IBC you can consider this, which in detail will talk ki how it can be. Now the other two stages will help you improve on them. But before we go on them, we'll tell, or we'll take this means 2025 paper to understand your understanding ki what you did since you have written. So what you mean by them, that will give us also understanding ki, let's say, how better you understand the things. No. So let's take that ki although lots of discussions happened, at this stage. So what you chose in this, which topics? Fourth. And B? Is it visible? Is it visible? Yes. Seventh. Yes. Not. Yes. First. And fifth and first. No experience. No experience. Any 1 and 7. Right. So let's take that ki in first topic, since you have selected truth knows no color. No. So how, what you have, how in major way you have structured? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, linking with anecdotes. Mm-hmm. The truth knows no color. ठीक है. So you largely agreed in essay, right? But you give also antithesis. In the antithesis, what was your argument? Hmm. Yes.
Sir, my argument was anyone can learn from other experiences also, and it's not be bitter. And good experiences can also be help in
Good experience can also help.
learning the best.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. And in this, I think you wrote fifth one, seventh one. Life, let's say that. In that antithesis, what you are writing?
So destination is also important for a predictable path.
Hmm.
Cannot like if seeing life as a journey only, we can like, forget the path itself. We can be confused. Some element of chaos can be there.
Excuse me. क्या हो रहा है? Yes. ठीक है. See, uh, any topic you take, that will have three things. Right. That is what we will try to tell. So, any topic we say it is going to have thesis, antithesis, synthesis. That is how it is. So you don't have to only write thesis or antithesis, you have to also write this synthesis of this. There is a fourth one also we'll talk you when we'll add. That is the entire structure of this. Right. Now, certainly let's see you will be able to know truth knows no color. Right. It means that truth is something independent. Right. There is noumena and there is phenomenon. The noumenon philosophy says that truth is independent of us. The truth is universal. And phenomenon is that no, truth is not independent of us. The way we see the things, things are. This. So once you know the meaning, then how clearly you articulate. Because most of the people will be able to know meaning. So today knowing meaning may not be as challenging, means it is not that big challenge कि you do not know meaning. Yes, in some cases you may not interpret in a right way. But that can be not that major aspect. The important aspect is that how clearly you explain it. It will articulate it, explicate it, or elucidate it. This. That will decide the level of clarity in your essay. Right? That is how it is. So, when you select any topic, you see this, whether I am going to explain it that clearly. Because when you select this, it will be challenging in terms of proving it. You have to prove it, establish it. But in this, you don't have to prove. Things are well proven. Many people have learned from bitter experience. You don't have to prove it. कोई भी example ले लो. Right. Mahatma Gandhi to APJ Abdul Kalam to our Prime Minister also, isn't it? So you don't have to prove it. And there will be also people, those who live in comfort, etc., they also learn. Right. So this essay will not demand as much challenge in selecting the topic as let's say this one. Because here you should have, it is more philosophical. This. So if you have better philosophical knowledge, then you should go for this topic. Means you will have to have knowledge of those philosophies which talk on truth, and in both way, right? Universality of truth and multipolarity of truth. This, if you do not have that kind of understanding, so by applied knowledge you cannot prove that effectively. This, so that is the challenge in this essay. Let's say that if you are strong in writing philosophical type of essay, you should have gone for that. If you are not that strong in philosophical type of essay, so you can go by other, because all other ये भी philosophical है. This, but it is this second topic and fourth topic. They are not demanding that much philosophy. No, we can subdue our enemy without war. Pakistan is the best example. Okay. Right. So we are fighting many wars in our country, isn't it? And we subdue them without, let's say, going an extreme level. This, you can get lots of example where we subdue, means suppress, solve a problem without becoming more extreme, or let's say ki more, let's say ki objective way, that is called kinetic war. So now you can write this essay when you have a bit better understanding of history and IR. This, because this essay can be written when you have that historical knowledge. If you have a historical knowledge in past, in history, kings, monarchs, others, they may have, let's say, not fought war, but they won war. So that will be good. This, you can prove it. You can prove by IR also in today's context. This, so that is how it demands a bit different aspect. So it is, let's say, subdue enemy. Now, in this also understanding, people understand the meaning of this essay? No, not understanding. So basically, yes. Then question comes ki what are the, let's say, ki meanings of the words in the essay. So one is called obvious meaning. Another is called ki, let's say that ki unobvious or secondary, tertiary type of meaning. Obvious meaning of this is, it is saying that ki we can, let's say, overcome any our enemy without physical war, kinetic war जिसको बोलते हैं. If you want to fight against any country, so you can win that war, you can defeat that country without necessarily going to battle. That is how it is saying. So it is related to that kinetic war. This, अब इसके बारे में आपके पास knowledge होना चाहिए. You should have knowledge, right? Then you will be able to write. Largely to defeat or overcome any enemy, we go for a war. Like largely US. The antithesis तो आपके पास है. The US largely go for a war. This or any other you can consider. So basically it is more related to historical aspect, international relations. Although let's say you have to broaden the essay, so you can link with anything. Tackling tuberculosis in our country is also a war. Tackling black money is also a war. Right? Demonetization. Right? Tackling anything can be a war. Let's say tackling poverty is also a war. You are fighting this on war footing. So you can take meaning of war in different way. That is how you try to broaden your essay. But obvious meaning is this. It is a basically framed philosophical topic in applied sense. Right? It is more applied topic, but framed in a philosophical way. Now let's come to this. Thought finds a word and creates one also. Right. So can you explain the meaning of this? Thought, let's finds a word and creates one also. What does it mean?
So it means the thoughts are introduced in a word and thought itself create one word in itself.
So you should know that it has two parts. Thought creates. This thought finds a world, it is one part. And thought creates one also, it is second part. Right. Now, thought finds a world means there is already a world which we have not found, we have not explored, we can explore it. So through exploration, we can find it. So things already exist in this universe, but we do not know them, we are not aware, so we are not creating them, rather we are finding them through our knowledge, wisdom and others. This, and it is the antithesis, second part, ki no, thought can also create a world. Right. So it is a bit challenging. Right. Challenging in writing also. This, because then आपको thoughts की चीजें लिखनी होगी. You'll have to write those things which are at a thought generated. Right. In examination hall, it is challenging to generate and do justice. Right. Anyhow, but so you'll find in that 4 topics, 1 and 3, they are challenging. They will demand philosophical knowledge. This philosophical knowledge. And in this, you should have also science knowledge. The science is something that finds and creates basically, in objective sense. Science that creates. A theory of relativity is a creation. Right? Black hole is a creation. Now we find it. The scientists find it. That scientists are still finding how the world was created. Right. Now it demands a better understanding of science, especially the historical aspect of science, so that you can have some right references. Plus, again, certain academics, let's say, are philosophical understanding. So it will be difficult to write, and yes, those candidates who are good in philosophy, they can write. This, that is how you find this. It means that second and fourth, they don't demand that kind of. The writing second and fourth will not be as challenging as writing first and third one. That is called topic selection. This. So this way we can consider. Anyhow, let's come to next part. This, because इसका meaning तो clear है, we don't have to explain the meaning, right? Now, this muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. No. So what does it mean? Time? Right, time heals. Yes. Any other?
Sometimes non-interference is the best one.
Yes. So when there are chaos, let it get settled rather than settling it. No? When mind is in dissonance, so leave it. Right? When rupee is falling, let it fall. Right? RBI should not intervene. When world economy will settle, it will also get settled. Is it like that? Right. Anyhow, so people will be able to understand, but generating content will be challenge, you know that, because it will be difficult even if you adopt any strategy, pestle, etc. जो भी आप adopt करोगे, तो link करना हर area में, in every area you have to find कि something is in chaos, we have to get it settled or wait for its settlement. Right, although people may have chosen, no doubt, some people. Now what can be its counter, means antithesis? Simple, yes, RBI cannot wait for things to settle down. Same example, right? Or when there is a chaos in society, government cannot wait, otherwise, right? You know what will happen? Its antithesis was also very strong. This topic antithesis was also very strong. If you have thesis is strong, antithesis is also strong. So both sides you can do justice. Right. That was also a topic could have been selected. Right. This, but and then you have to go for this to do the now. The years teach much which the days never know. Then
So learning takes time.
learning takes time. Experience matters. Yes. So basically, it is related to that. That achieving wisdom takes time. Achievement of wisdom is accumulation of knowledge. Right. There is a cascading effect in our society. And that cascading effects know that do not happen in a day. Anything up you can take. UPI, digital public infrastructure. So they have, no, it has taken certain number of years. Now you have UPI, it has a cascading effect. Digital public infrastructure, it has a cascading effect. That way also you can say this. So we go, our knowledge, let's say industrial revolution, third, fourth, you can consider. Basically it is saying accumulation. But then its antithesis is, what can be its antithesis?
New technologies like AI, which are helping people to learn more faster than the people who have that experience.
Yes. So let's say which the days never know, days also matter, UPSC prelims day also matters. Right. So many a time, one day what you do on a particular day, that also this years of efforts can go waste. Right, headbutt by French captain, and what happened? That Italy went on winning that, isn't it? Matlab, we can have examples also. Right, one small event also. Let's say a part of the event. Let's say this satellite you launch. If you are missing one part, you may have built taking years, but on day of launch, a very small mistake can make your years of efforts. Right. The counter thesis was also, but it is difficult to write. Right. It is difficult to write. Basically, let's say that both 5 and 6 topic you may understand, but it will be challenging to generate content when you examination hall you have to. That is how people will largely go by this. और ये तो और भी clear है. 8th topic. Right. So it is best to see life as a journey, not as a destination. इसमें आपको explain करना नहीं है. It is very clear. Let's say that. And let's say antithesis you can write, and then contentment is a natural wealth. ये तो और भी clear है. This you should know that. Already last year also people had experience of happiness is the path, isn't it? There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. On a similar line it is. In fact वो सारा आप उसका सारा philosophy लिख सकते हो. Right. This, that is repeat of the theme also, which we'll talk in the second part. So basically, let's say that what you learn by this, let's say topic selection, or the topic you select, let's say, yes, certainly you go by as the topic you feel comfortable, but all topics are differently designed, they need different orientation, even if all those are considered philosophical topic, but they are not in pure sense philosophical. Pure sense philosophical, you will have to only, let's say that two topics are there. First and third topic. Right. That is what we can consider. Then let's say that we'll come to generally when we structure, or you structure, so what your structure is, you write. You write anecdote, let's say, then you go on writing. After that, what you write? How you structure? मान लो आपने anecdote लिख दिया, उसके बाद आप क्या लिखते हैं? What you write? Right. So we write thesis, let's say. Then we write. Okay. Then antithesis, then conclusion. That. Now, the question is that do you use any transition? Transition, because there should be transition. Otherwise, a gap will be created. This. Then between them, there should be connection, means connecting things, let's say. Connection. There should be transition again. This means you cannot directly write conclusion after just antithesis. Right. If you are writing in that way, after writing antithesis, just conclusion, the gap is created. If you are not having transition, the gap is created. This. It's because it becomes sudden. This. Then how you broaden your essay, how you build your essay of different dimensions. आप क्या करते हो? What do you do basically?
Extrapolating that topic into different
This is
extrapolating that topic into
different
different dimensions.
dimensions. So we go by different dimensions. Right? So those dimensions are, if you reduce, so that is how largely we say it. It is this. This. Or you may not necessarily follow that, but it is along with, it is in line with that we can consider. No, it is aligned to that, so that way we can consider. Then, let's say when we are writing, suppose you are writing, this is called political, so then you write to economic, so there is a transition again. So do you connect, or you just after writing political you move to economic, you move to environmental? What do you do basically? Do you connect? How we connect? What we do basically for that? Yes, so we use some, yes, let's. Or some, let's say that. We try to means bring certain aspect of this is, we'll tell you how to connect this. So, आज उनको basically English, हालांकि we don't want to bring, but we say like this. This. Having said that, let's say that moreover, let's on the one hand, on the other hand, this. So this way, in addition to that, there are like say connecting things, let's say we try to use. अब ये है कि वो थोड़ा सा नेचुरल होना चाहिए. You should become मीन्स के कई बार आई नो माय स्टूडेंट्स बेसिकली तो वो हाउएवर 2-3 बार लगातार यूज कर देते हैं. तो हालांकि मैंने चूंकि वो दे आर सपोज माय स्टूडेंट्स इन सम सब्जेक्ट्स लेट्स से, तो सिंस वी डिक्टेट इन ए पर्टिकुलर वे, तो आई जनरली यूज हाउएवर, नेवरदलेस एंड अदर थिंग्स. तो वो कई बार वो उसको अब्स्ट्रैक्ट बना करके वो हाउएवर लगातार कर देते हैं ना. हाउएवर लगातार आप यूज नहीं कर सकते, right? Because it is a contrast. Something you say, then you add high over. That should be contrast. Anyhow, just to tell, so it should look natural. Otherwise, it will look artificial. That is the, let's say, things we can consider. So yes, you follow a particular structure, no doubt. This which is nowadays in the market that we try to structure it. This essay. Then you should know that structuring part as far as is concerned. So gradually, let's say that ki anecdote and the thesis, antithesis, etc. They are basically being less appealing, you know that. Right. They are becoming less appealing. Why? Because everyone is writing same line, you know that. The thing is that ki your words may be a bit different, but many a time examples may also match. Right. Quotations may also match. Right. And UPSC, you know that UPSC is known for bringing change in the trends. This this way, it loves newness. You know that newness, but certainly not that too much of newness, which can become also counterproductive. We can consider this. So we'll try to explain. Let's say these things and how you can means we'll go to the second level, third level, moderate to standard one, that how you can structure, how can you improve your essay when we learn. So basically what we will tell you that if you go to the second what we will, this is called understanding essay, which is a bit basic. Do you know it is a long piece of writing? But then we have philosophical essay, which is logical. Now let's take that this, when we read your essay, does it look logical, rational? This is all. So it should not simply look like just jumping from one level to another level since we have to write. It should look, yes, you are applying your thinking. There is a thought process. And this, you generate something new in this. Means essay is reflecting, there is a thinking mind rather than very obvious content written from here and there. That is what philosophical we can consider. When we say non-philosophical, let's say that is not coming. This so non-philosophical we say as applied. The applied topic nowadays they don't ask. No? Last year all 8 topics are almost philosophical. This, but yes, they have asked in past applied topics. If you take 2024, to one topic was related to environment, I guess. One topic was from environment. So they have asked in past, etc. We'll show, let's say, those things. Or you may be familiar about them. We don't have to go on to this. The main thing, if you talk essay per se, that is how you should take away. And when you are writing your essay, so just ask this question to yourself: am I writing in a rational, logical way? Whether my arguments are my content, my examples, etc., they do bring any logical understanding of the topic. This, and that by reading content we can understand when we write the content. This is one aspect. Next, that key, if you talk this key structure, what is structure should be of essay. So we have prepared some acronym. It look like funnel type. अगर हम इसको हटा देते हैं, suppose we remove it, it looks like funnel type. The essay should look like that. This. What is this basically? Let's say that. It is nothing but it is introduction. It is transition. And it is what you missed in your essay structure is called interpretation. Right? That is called elucidation. आजकल मैं ये भी ऐड करने लगा हूँ, elucidation. That is your initial part. Part 1 of essay. Initial part. Initially we write introduction. That introduction can be, or can have anecdotes. Whatever you write, that's different thing what we will write. After that there should be transition. You move to transition. And then after transition you have to explicate, basically elucidate that if it is needed. If it is not needed, then it is not necessary. But most of the essay demand you should write it. This, because that gives you grip. That will create a grip, a very strong base. This. Otherwise it can be also very sudden. Right. Truth knows no color. तो ट्रूथ हमने डिफाइन किया नहीं और पूरा ऐसे हमने लिख दिया. Truth. So what is truth? At least we can tell that truth itself can have objective, etc. Or if you are writing here and there, it is not needed. Again, I told you there is no hard and fast rule. People can write this while writing their essay here and there. It is, but many a time what we do is that we forget it. Right? So this can be. This is the main structure of, let's say, that your essay, which you use, or we, so far we have been also, or you are talking, it is also nothing but similar to that. So what you say pastel, right? Nowadays becoming popular, वो acronym कोई और भी आप बना सकते हैं उसी words का. We have made it like a dip here. This. Now, what are these things? This is transition. Once you connect, means thesis, antithesis you have written, so we say it as transition. Sorry. Right. Basically, we say it as thesis. Then we say antithesis. Then we say, and then we say progress. This approach is also known as this Hegelian philosophy. It is this. Now, before I go to other parts, let me elaborate it. Your essay should look like this: thesis, this, antithesis, this is transition, conclusion, way forward, body part, and certainly we introduce. That is how I have drawn the other way around. Now, when we are writing thesis, it is the biggest part of your essay. Then antithesis should be a bit less than that. Otherwise, essay negative हो जाएगा. And then की transition should be further less than that. This and conclusion should be progress, means ki it should bring some outlook. This a futuristic outlook. That is how conclusion. It brings outlook, a futuristic outlook. Now, when it brings a futuristic outlook, it gives a message. You give a message to the world, to the society, right? And that message is essence of essay. The way you write essence of essay in concluding part, right? This in transition and concluding part we write message. The truth knows no color. तो आपने तो दोनों साइड लिख दिया, but exactly what message it is giving. Truth knows no color, right? But what message it is giving, right? हम ये तो लिखेंगे नहीं कि both are correct. Both sides are true. That will not end. So even if truth can be multiple, but truth is truth. Right. Even if truth can be anekantvad, let's say that Jainism can tell. So even if truth can have multi-dimensional, but even in that case also, truth is truth. It will have objectivity. Right. It will not have subjectivity. Right. It will not have falsehood. It will not be based on that. So the main message of truth will remain that it is in essence, right? It is in essence something which is objective, indicating towards fairness, indicating towards justice. Right? It is giving that message. Each essay will give you a message. And that message will come, that is progress you are making. This. नहीं तो लोग तो कंफ्यूज हो जाए. If both are correct, कि multiple views are also correct, universal view is correct, then what would be the end result? There should be something called end result. That is how end result is, that truth is still, even if it is multiple, it is still good. The element inherent in truth is, that is called goodness of that. It is indicating this. So that is what the message or essence we can consider, and that is how we write. That will be considered your outlook, your perspective. This in that essay. So that way we can build this essay. Already you know this antithesis, thesis. Here body part will talk, introduction will talk, but that is what one aspect. Then another acronym that we have used is this. What is this? Already you know, we have just prepared in some acronym. So we have written COAC. You know, UPSC demand conciseness, originality, and then we have this. Although UPSC only write COA, one C we have added ourselves. Right? It says your essay should be concise. This. Then it should be original. Then it should be analytical. That way we can consider. And we have added कि इतने सारी चीजें हैं तो उसमें coherence होना चाहिए. Right. Coherent means this is how well connected. It is well connected, let's say. It's not like this. This way. So that is what, let's say, कि your essay should look if you have a structure. If you have a structure like this, so this structure should be able to, that is how we have kept above one, let's say, because once you are able to write your essay by following this, then it should reflect what UPSC is demanding. This. And then even without following this, you can write this, any structure, simple structure you can have. So this we can consider. Now let's take that main part, that is called structure part. This thesis part. So basically you have been, or we have been, let's say, using this called So humanistic I have written here. It's yes. It is philosophical, political, humanistic, psychological. Yes, P and H, let's say basically. P and H, I think P को हमें politically लिखना था. Right. Then H को humanistic, psychological, but let's say it is, you can elaborate like this. Right. Now let's take the difference क्या है? What is the difference between them? You should know that कि philosophical essay, and in philosophical essay you are not writing philosophy. There is no philosophy. Right? The philosophical dimension in this, if you take P as philosophy, तो good. But P as politics you take, तो then philosophy is lost. But when we structure, ऐसा नहीं कि ये गलत है. Try to understand. Not all people follow it. Also, people have their uniqueness, but this is a way to tell something, because we cannot tell each and everything. What obvious, we can just to try to learn. Let's say that ki after writing introduction, transition, elucidation, then the thing should come is philosophy should come. Right? Which philosophy talks about truth? This. And that truth also about universal truth. That should come. So that you can build your essay and go and relate this. And here basically, let's say they become more subjective type. So I mean to say they become more applied type. Applied means they become more of something, let's say, related to real world, you can consider. This, which are somehow getting not connected with you as an aspirant. This. Here it is happening that dialectical is basically, let's say, what is dialectical? So dialectical is something that you should give, that is how we have given thesis, that is thesis, antithesis, synthesis, and this. This is called dialectical. If you learn or know the meaning of what, dialectical, this is how the meaning. But again, I will tell you that I will not teach this. I told you I will not make it complex. That is something at higher level of thing. We'll try to keep it simple, basic, right, or at least moderate level. Once you start learning essay writing, then yes, if you need it, then if it is not needed. If you have written anyone who has written essay by whatever the approach he has, he is getting marks, he should follow that. Just he should start fine tune in his approach. It is not needed. But yes, those who are not getting marks, so they can take this risk. Right? Or those who are going to write first time, so they can, let's say, learn it. That is how we can tell. So यहाँ पे होता भी क्या है कि UPSC is basically testing your psychometric knowledge, your psychological aspect as an aspirant. This. And then it is testing a more nuanced, let's say, paradoxical type of multi-dimensional, जिसको polyglot बोलते हैं, multi-dimensional thinking perspective. This. And in that, because last year some people have written, and even one candidate, not from our institute, but one candidate, if I am right, and if she is right, so she got 165 in essay. Do you know? 165. Right. I have never heard of 165, but I read somewhere on social media post, etc. Right. If she is right and it is, so that is how you'll find that. So they have been writing there is approach or the approach which are being followed, like this. So what UPSC today demand, or what is lacking in the essay when you are writing in this, is humanistic approach, psychological, philosophical approach, right? It's a truth. You should know that, be truth, let's say that. The psychological, human psychological aspect. Know that the human psychological dimension or philosophical dimension or humanistic dimension, if you take, in that truth meaning will be different. It will be more related to justice aspect, more related to fairness aspect. This, you will bring different types of philosophies. You should know that. So your, let's say that the dimension of essay will change, or it will become more broad. This, then they want you to write as an administrator. They want to write you as an administrator. So one part, one paragraph should be also devoted in that essay related to administration. This, especially public administration, you know that. This, since उसको एक्रोनिम बनाने के लिए R लिखा गया है, regulatory administration, right? But it is in actual sense, it is public administration. Right? This, like prelims में भी public administration आ गया. This you can see. So even in prelims you can see that now they are, let's say, forcing you to think like a civil servant. Right, the 3 case studies type. Or in a way, prelims is nothing but test of mains and interview also. This, it is cumulation, you can say, cumulation of test of your mains also and interview also. They have given you exposure. This. So that is a changing dimension, let's say. It is because of that changing dimension, this is how this approach, let's say that becoming popular. Although again I'll tell that if you are following this, you are getting marks, you are comfortable. If you are not comfortable with this, so you don't need to follow it. This, because this will take a bit time to learn. This method will take a time to learn, you can say. How? Because आपको ये सब चीजें dialectical, thesis, antithesis, how to write, so it can be a bit challenging. Challenging is like, let's take this. So in past or so far, we are writing essay as first we write thesis. First we write thesis, we complete our entire thesis part. Then we write antithesis, we complete. Then we go for transition and we go for conclusion. That is how we write. Right. But in this new method, your each section, suppose you are writing about economy. We are writing about economy. Your economy part, whatever you are writing, that section, it should be like thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. If not the progress, if you can add this, it in each section. Right. This is called pendulum type. This is called pendulum type. Essay writing. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Right. So it means कि आपका your argument will be in a package type. Take one package, complete it. Take next package, complete it. तो एक बात पूरा आप एक जगह कहेंगे. Right. Means one thing you will finish at one place by saying its all dimension. You start with thesis, talk antithesis, and give antithesis. This, that way. So this is an emerging, let's say that, it is emerging approach, which the students are now following like this. Some of them you can consider this. Although it is a bit challenging, I will tell you that it will take time to train oneself. In this case, you don't have to write this. The things, this antithesis we don't have to write. We'll have to transition and conclude. Right. तो इससे in this approach, what will be the benefit is that कि almost for each thesis you have given antithesis, and you may have given also outlook, the fourth one, this, that way, and it can give you enough room for doing analysis, becoming more analytical. This way, that is how you can consider. In this, it is holistic antithesis. It is good if you want to avoid complex aspect. The writing holistic antithesis is less challenging. This, and you can have obvious content on that. But here it will be very challenging for each section, I think, you can say. But this can give you newness you can consider in your approach. That is how the difference between what we can say pastel and what we can say deep here. Right? Now, let's come to introduction part if you talk. So we use anecdote, this, and one is called this. Showing the paradox, right? Epistemological. See, epistemological is something that is based on presumption, right? This presumption, it is your presumption. Presumption कि civil servant कैसा होना चाहिए. The civil servant should be more service oriented. That is epistemological basis of a civil servant. So each essay has its own epistemological basis, presumption, right? And that presumption you try to crack in both, in let's say in positive and in negative way. That is called paradox. So in introduction itself you show the both sides, not in a conclusive way, right? This, so that way also becoming writing introduction nowadays. Why? Because this anecdote has become very often repeated type you can consider. And many a time this does not suit, let's say that, when you frame any story, that story etc. So somehow it is wearing out or becoming a bit old aspect. Right? Because let's say that demands, I will tell you that there was a time in case studies, people used to write direct answer, stakeholder, etc., etc. But nowadays you write a bit analysis of that, what case study is, then you start. That is change you can consider. The same thing, this is how it is happening. Still will tell you that if you are writing this, you are comfortable, you go by that. This. And in this, what we can consider? Parallel anecdote, epistemological. In one to answer we have shown, but that is basically, we have shown or we will show when we will give you essay for writing practice. We will show that how there can be anecdotal type and how there can be epistemological type. This now, still I will go on this, I will tell you that when you are writing anecdote or anything, so try to, let's say, link with current things. Certainly we try to write with historical aspect. We bring historical aspect, anything, and you relate. But there are so many things happening in this society. This, so you can also connect with those things. This way. Like let's say that when you are writing bitter experience, let's say this that life and bitter experience teaches. So do we have any current experience that life teaches? Right. One is ki Mahatma Gandhi. People will write. That is very, let's say that ki repeated type of thing. But can we pick up any example of present which can be very new?
LPG crisis.
LPG crisis, but do we have any individual experience? We may not have. In LPG is not a right. It will not result into right preparation. Largely, it should be any individual experience. No? Learning from the experience is individual. This. So if you prepare any recent example, let's say that, and which is a bit, let's say, a better example you can consider, that will be given rewarded. This is how it is being said that if you are writing unobvious examples, because obvious examples are becoming very often repeated. This, especially Mahatma Gandhi, Buddha, Ambedkar, and Tagore, or let's say Ambedkar, you can consider like those things are becoming. So that is what we can consider. Now here it is nothing but it is reconstruction. You can consider this. So like say as we told about truth wala, let's say even let's say war if you are writing this. So when you write war wala, suppose you are writing war subduing enemy. This you can say. So it shows that knowledge can be applied in a hierarchical way. We can use our knowledge and wisdom in a hierarchical way. Going for war is also showing that it is failure of wisdom or failure of diplomacy. Or when diplomacy fails, then we go for war. So somehow let's say that going for war at first place is not considered application of wisdom. Even Kautilya in his Arthashastra says that the war should be the last resort. Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. This. Nevertheless, let's say, however, let's say there can be situation where war becomes a necessity, or not going for war can be considered, let's say, without war it is difficult to subdue any enemy. But you have to explain it, basically. When you are writing, you have to explain it. Since that kind of habit we do not have to explain it, there can be challenge. Whether I am writing effective one or I am not writing effective one. Right. Since it is new, I will still tell you can still go by this. That way. As far as introduction is concerned. Now, once you write introduction to transition part, this basically in transition part you use that aspect. If you know about who has given the statement, then you can relate with this. This you can say. Or if you do not know that, so then you can tell this phrase or this, let's say that aphorism, whatever you can use the term, right? In this essay, you can also write what we are going to write. That is also nowadays becoming you try to tell what you are going to write. So that way it can transition this. And then once you transition, then you go for elucidating. You elucidate. Why I am using now elucidate, not interpretation. Generally we used to write interpretation. But nowadays I use elucidate because it is more, let's say that becoming. Now, in today's context, when you are elucidating, writing the meaning, so do not write only objective meaning, also write a philosophical one, metaphorical one. This way. So one is that truth or bitter experience you can consider. So or let's say that muddy water you can consider. This. So muddy water can be dissonance also in the mind. It is not that things are in chaos, let's say. It's metaphorical, philosophical type meaning is that one has dissonance in mind. If one has dissonance in mind, conflicting things are coming, then let mind get settled. Let thinking get settled. This that is considers, let's say, philosophical or subjective meaning of that topic. So we do not only write the objective meaning. This so that is a newness we can consider nowadays, and then we give any example to relate it. So here you can write this meaning, and then you can write any example, any quotation to, let's say, that reinforce your whatever the meaning you are explaining. This, and once we explain that, then you can tell that now having explained or elucidated about essay, let's go for, or let's analyze, or we will analyze in details about the thesis, and then you start writing your thesis part. This, now in thesis part will tell you that when you place any example and quotation, to make a bit room for that. Right? Don't write direct reference and quotation. Suppose you have to give any quotation, let's say that, anyone, let's say that. Suppose you want to give quotation related to truth, let's say Mahatma Gandhi, Satyagraha, you can consider talking about truth, non-violence. You a bit talk about Mahatma Gandhi, how truth was used as a weapon by Mahatma Gandhi in freedom struggle movement. This, and it is in this context he remarks, or he remarked. So you try to maintain a coherence in this. That is called creating a place to relate any statement. Right? So that is what we can consider the structure part. Now, when we write synthesis, etc., we have already told you that how to synthesize means writing both aspects, both sides. This universal aspect is also society. So when you bring the other side, you can take help of, you can consider about this even customary morality, you can take also multicultural society, you can consider like this. So there can be different ways to relate. It is not necessarily that you relate. Many a time dialectical also means local aspect. You should also know that dialecticals are local things, you can say that, social ethos, which are diversity and differences in society. This, and that way this is how it should be written about the structural aspect. This we have talked about concluding part. It should be outlook means it should be open ended. This, when you are writing conclusion, the conclusion should be something open ended, and end and then write any quotation. This, so the question is that it should not be too big, but it should not be too small. This length of the essay is basically 5-6 lines we write. Already wording part you may be knowing, that will be very basic to talk, what should be, but most, let's say, basically 400 to 500 words we give in our essay thesis part. Others accordingly we manage. This we can consider. Rest we will know through practice, etc. Let's say that. Then comes about the last stage, that is called that how you can write. Before that, if you want to ask anything related to structure part, you face any difficulty in structure part?
Sir, how you narrate out structure? How do you connect out structure? How to find getting more marks?
Yes, how to find it. Right. So basically, lots of things are. That is how part will tell. How to prepare, that is called preparation stage. So it will bring it. Any other question?
Sir, sir, in a holistic dimension approach, if we are writing about synthesis in each dimension, then in last part of the essay, what will be writing synthesis?
We can cumulatively synthesize. Yes, we can give holistic view. This of one paragraph. Right. Basically, topic, thesis, antithesis. Any question from online, you can ask. In preparation, basically you have to have three things. One, you have to know the themes. Then you can select yourself. आप कुछ themes को select कर लो, and then you prepare on those themes. Already you have your pool of knowledge from your GS and optional, plus this ethics paper. Better understanding of ethics means better understanding of essay. It's a quite, let's say, that ki link between them. And accordingly you can prepare this, you can prepare examples and facts. So they will smoothen you, they will help you write more effectively. Because many a time having a right reference becomes very important, and if you get a very right reference, then it helps you either to introduce also, anywhere it helps, let's say, even to conclude also. This. So we have to have a conclusion, and in conclusion, basically you have to write a quotation. That quotation is either giving matching with the essence that you are trying to write, or it is trying to balance both. But in introduction, we have to write a quotation, if at all we are writing, which is trying to take the major theme of the essay. So in subduing war wala, let's say you can take a quotation which is just justifying the statement. But similar quotation you cannot use in the end. So this is what we have to differentiate. So our quotation which we are ending, it should be more holistic in nature. But quotation we are introducing, it can be selective, it can be inclined towards one. That is the difference we can make, right? This, anyhow, the themes, let's talk on the themes aspect. See, major themes are related to this rationality, we put in one category. See, already you will have lots of knowledge on them. The only thing what you have to do is you will have to prepare philosophical way. For each segment, some suitable quotations. So quotations, some examples, which seem to be more philosophical, let's say. Like say if you take, we talk justice, social justice, gender, etc. You know theory of justice, you know John Rawls, you know capability approach. Or women, you know about Nehru, Ambedkar, Vivekananda statements. That is how we mean by philosophical. Rather than writing about labor participation, workforce participation, right, and gender gap index and this and that. Right. So we don't write those factuals. Rather, while writing them, referring them, you write. Same thing, human capital, education, health. So you can link with about human resource, about let's say that well-being of the society, wellness of the society, potential. You know that poverty is not about that whether people are empty stomach. Poverty is about whether people are able to utilize their fullest potential. This is about Amartya Sen, right? This is defining not in a such literal sense, defining in a metaphorical sense, defining in a philosophical sense. तो poverty को आप define कर सकते हो. It is below poverty line, multi-dimensional poverty index, लक्कड़वाला committee, isn't it, etc. जो भी है. But उसका एक philosophical dimension भी है. This, so whether poverty is not about whether people have access to food, etc. Poverty is about whether people are able to utilize their fullest potential or not. This, yes, capability approach. This, that way. So we have to find out in each section philosophical components, be it education, be it health. That is the change, let's say that. So you know factual aspect from your GS papers, but you have to take out the philosophical dimensions on each segment. That will also enrich your ethics paper, because they are equally, let's say, relevant in ethics paper, if as far as applied ethics is concerned. And you write case studies when you are writing. The case studies can be on all the subjects. This, in fact, AI पे already एक case study आ चुका है, right? वो भी 3-4 साल पहले का case study है, right? Anyhow, so this we can consider. So that will help you having, let's say that key, enrich content based on those facts example like this. Now, in this you can take risk, or if you can prepare all, it is good. But you can prepare because let's say that they have asked truth. Truth they have asked. Last year also they asked truth, I guess. In 2024 also they have asked a question related to that. And let's say contentment they have asked and happiness they have asked. So we may not expect that they may ask a question again related to happiness or contentment, right? So you can, let's say, take risk. You may not prepare much on that. Thought से भी आ गया. देखो एक ही थीम से उन्होंने 2 क्वेश्चन पूछा है, thought and truth. This, and most of the time the questions are based on that. Most, these 2 themes if you take. So if you prepare on them, you are necessarily going to get one. This, that way. So that can be considered. Then power, courage, character, etc. From that side, success, failure, they have not asked for some time, you can say. I think this bitterness wala experience, life experience is related to a bit, but not exactly failure you can consider. This, but we can count on that category, we can keep in that category. This. So if you go theme wise, what we have to do, we have written here, let's key, yes, you have to know meaning, because many a time when we are writing, this, like once they ask question on rationality is, वो था विजडम फाइंड्स ट्रुथ, ऐसे ही था. यस, वन ऐसे टॉपिक हुआ दिस. यू नो दिस, ये भी एक ऐसे टॉपिक, आई थिंक 24 या 23. Truth knows no color and wisdom finds truth. This, since basically my system, this system ये connect था, ये work नहीं कर रहा है. Otherwise I have shown those things there. We are not able to show it. We kept the class here, not in Karol Bagh. That is also one, because of summer time and etc. Generally we take class in Karol Bagh, so there we have a system and to explain it. So that is a problem to, but I guess it was asked in 2023 or 24. This, now let's say कि wisdom and truth, right? So you should be able to define them. When there is a joy, are we able to, let's say कि write joy as something different from happiness? Although you don't have to differentiate in essay happiness and joy, but your content should be like joy, not happiness. This, so that understanding, so once we know the themes, we can prepare the themes. This, that we can consider. You can know the at least meaning, and for each meaning or each term there can be philosophy. This, the philosophy you can prepare, and plus accordingly you prepare positives, means positive and negative examples. This, and that will help you to generate content, let's say, or you can have content on them. But then you were talking about anecdotes. This will help you preparing anecdote. How? So when you are preparing for these particular themes, let's say, so suppose you are preparing on rationality. So when you are preparing on rationality, prepare anecdote that time itself. This, and see कि how we can find from history. आप हेल्प ले सकते हो AI का nowadays. ठीक है, तो AI आपके लिए एनेक्डोट लिख सकता है. बोलो कि हिस्ट्री से एक एनेक्डोट लिखो. आपको अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, बोलो कि स्पोर्ट्स से लिखो. टेल द राइट फ्रॉम साइंस. मतलब वो आपको एक्सप्लोर कर सकता है. ठीक है, या आप बोलो कि आप करंट से लिखो, आप कुछ प्रॉम्प्ट्स दे दो. राइट, या आप न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हो, यू आर रीडिंग न्यूज़पेपर. न्यूज़पेपर में बहुत सारे ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स आ रहे हैं. Do we have any incident in recent times which is related to rationality or lack of rationality? Or it teaches something about rationality? This. Right. So that way, let's say कि you can make. So it will be, let's say कि then, let's say कि if you prepare theme wise, you are preparing, so then you can generate suitable anecdotes. Right. Now, you may not necessarily use that in examination, let's say, because by the time you prepare theme, anecdote, and then you appear in mains, suppose you are writing mains right now, it is good, it can work. But suppose you mains writing, there is a gap, so then there will be change, but it will be easy to generate anecdote there, because you have gone through that process. You know how to generate. Like we have, I should not tell that way. But suppose we are writing wisdom, we are writing morality से related अगर हमें बताना है, rationality, morality, although they are related, ethics, etc. So one anecdote is prepared. We have prepared. Listen, Noida, 2 incidents happened. This. So how we can prepare? Now we cannot write just like a story. Let's say that we can simply we have to write something related to either rationality or let's say ethicality. Or morality, like say in knowledge, right? Knowledge without morality is this and that. That is how it is said. That there can be a question like this. So they have knowledge, but they belong to the good family. Family one is, let's say, ex-judge, right? Basically, the both dates are related to families. They have better education, means knowledge, but what they lack is values, lack is ethics, lack is rationality. So you can frame an anecdote like this. and that will be more impactful. This, because it is just happening now, your essay will also appear more connected with present developments. This, that is how it can be done. Right. It will give you help. And this, now, basically what we have done is, we have prepared one book on all these themes. Somehow today it is not, we are able to give you because it got delayed. So tomorrow, by tomorrow it will come. So we have prepared all these themes. This, all these themes, meaning we have told, quotations we have given, philosophy we have given, plus examples also we have given from different aspects. Right. You can also do some other prompts I will give you. How to make your essay unique. So you can make your essay unique by bringing examples from history, let's say that. History is very huge. Right. So then it will not be repeating. Your example may be different from other examples because there are different types of histories. Indian history, Western histories, let's say medieval time, modern times, this and that, from where you pick up. So different types of those historical facts, etc., they can give you. Similarly, philosophical type of examples you can take. Similarly, you can take from sports, you can say, science, you can say. This, you can bring those examples which are basically people have learned, let's say, struggle, learned, got success, this kind of thing. So all those variety of examples also can be gathered. Although some of them we have tried to compile, but then it cannot be made such a huge, you can say this. So that will give you the how part. Once we are prepared on them, now let's go back to what we were talking about, your essay writing. Right. So then your essay writing, then it can appear to be this. This we started, this stage. So this will also help you once you read them, prepare them. तो आपको पता चल जाएगा. देखो, we are not comfortable in everything. Joy we may experience, but I don't think you can become so comfortable to write. Unless you are forced against wall, कि आपके पास और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है. So you can take, because there are 8 topics, and you can take your strength and weakness, and you can go by your strengths while reading all of them. So let's say कि you can write. Like if अगर मैं अपना, हालांकि my role is there, but पढ़ते पढ़ते पढ़ाते पढ़ाते ethics वगैरह, let's say कि I can write better, मतलब मैं comfortable हो सकता हूँ rationality type के topic पे लिखने के लिए. ठीक है. But if you take as a student, तो hardly I could write anything on rationality. So that can be, this is how you can prepare your essay like this. Yes, any other question that you want to ask? So there is a question how to smooth transition. Yes, that is one, and then explain the second type introduction. Again, I'll tell you that. See, second type of introduction that we are talking. This introduction is your own articulation, and in introduction articulation, you try to show the paradox. When you are writing an anecdote, the anecdote is one type of story. Like as we told about Noida story, it is just talking on rationality. It is showing one type. It has been effective. We will not say it has not been effective. It has been effective. In fact, we are party to this. There was a time that these things were not written. There was a time that just you can start with a quotation. Right? So it was considered great, good. But a time came that anecdote. So then he started learning anecdote. So it was difficulty. The people learned how to write anecdote. अब today anecdote writing is just such a normal thing. Right? And when we read students' copy, so we feel very, let's say that कि मतलब कि students are so prepared that they can write all variety of anecdote. Right? So now that's not a problem. Your level of that learning has improved. Now at this stage we are thinking a new stage is coming. The new stage is coming ki how to make it paradoxical type, so that it covers the both aspect of the essay. This. तो जैसे अभी कोई IPS ऑफिसर, she has given a view कि we should not become judgmental. Unless the case is decided, we should not become judgmental. This media trial, etc. So when suppose the same story we are writing in different way, right? So we can say it shows there is lack of rationality, even if there is lack of, means it shows even if there is a knowledge, but it seems there is lack of rationality. Right. But it can be also too early to, right, be judgmental on that. Reality may be something else about the same story. This. Our ground realities may speak something else, which we may not be aware. Right. This is called paradoxical type. This the nuanced aspect you introduce in this. But do not make it conclusive. Right. So that is how the difference between when you write anecdote, because it is one-sided, and when you write the other type, epistemological wala part that we are talking, it shows the both sides, or at least it gives the writer of the other side. This, that is the difference we can consider. Even when you frame an anecdote, you can bring that way also. In anecdote also we can show a paradox aspect of this way, and that is how it can be considered. Then how to smoothen transition. When we write any introduction, then we come to, let's say that when we are writing suppose on rationality, right? Rationality wala part, same thing. We can say that how transition it. So this incident is not stand alone in our society. This incident can be found even very common in our society. And even it is not new. India has experienced such kind of incidents, right? Let's say that you can say past, you can consider even let's say that there was a time we had lots of incidents of dowry deaths, burning women, let's say that alive. Bahu, let's say that aspect. So you can transition by bringing the general aspect of other, right? Which shows that even if we can have education system, and then we can claim also of this or that education system, even our education which defines that it should be rational based on sound moorings, but ground realities are different, and then we have to basically focus more on rational aspect of knowledge rather than merely information aspect. So smoothening can be considered as something generalizing with this, right? Once generalize, we can end this, and then we can go on this next part. तो आप ऐसे लिख सकते हो उसके बाद having, right, having established or having explained, or in this essay it's better to write in this essay, तो उससे connect हो जाएगा. In this essay we will try to focus on, discuss on, and वो पूरा structure आप बता दो in brief, in one paragraph, right? This, and then you can write before we go for analyzing essay, right? Let's first understand what exactly it means when we say rationality, when we say reality, when we say truth, when we say this. Truth in objective sense is this. Truth in metaphorical sense is this. Truth in philosophy means this. तो आप थोड़ा 2-3 डायमेंशन से डिफाइन कर दो this. And now having defined it or explained the central meaning of the essay, let's analyze essay in details, the thesis part of the essay. This. And in this thesis first the focus should be given to the philosophical aspect. this, and then give the philosophy. Now, having said the philosophical, let's see in what in economics aspect this truth means, or what in, let's say, that is sociological, or what sociology talks about truth, what economics talks about truth, right? What, let's say, is psychology talks about truth. So that way we can even ask some questions also. That way also we can connect this. Then once your thesis synthesis is done, then you can say, now having discussed thesis and antithesis, is the time to go for synthesis. Right? Because things are not in extremes. If we see in one side or the other side, it will become extreme. We have to see things from a let's say that is sectoral perspective, multi-dimensional perspective. So that multi-dimensional polyglot, तो थोड़ा सा टर्म वगैरह भी प्रिपेयर कर लो आप. Right? कुछ ऐसे टर्म्स होते हैं, they help you. Right? This, and then we smoothen it. That is how it can be. How to make essay and as humanistic. अब ह्यूमनिस्टिक बनाने के लिए आपको या तो जस्टिस की बात करो, डिग्निटी की बात करो. You can talk on justice, you can talk on dignity, you can talk about human psychology. This, when you have to talk about human psychology, then you have to talk about even some psychological orientations. Let's say that you have dissonance theory that you read in attitude, you can consider this, or you can talk about human other, let's say, psychological aspect of human, some of the thinkers, if you know about them, this. So that even if it is, let's say, related to what you can say about self-actualization, so that you can talk, Charvak you can talk, this. So means you have to make something related to this. Then next is called paradox, we have explained. Introduction itself, then thesis and antithesis look like, no, try to understand. When you are writing in introduction paradox, you are just giving the reflection of your essay. Right. What you are going to write, since it is not that elaborate, that is how you will be able to do justice to that. Means ki, it will be more, I can say that ki, just showing a rider rather than giving elaborate aspect. Again, elaboration is not about, let's say that ki, one dimension. Elaboration is having several dimensions. This. So when it is several dimensions, it is not repeat, you can say this. It will not be considered repetition. So that way we can take. Right.
आर्टिकुलेशन में थोड़ा चैलेंज आता है.
Yes. देखो, आर्टिकुलेशन में ये है कि उसका तरीका ये है कि आप सिंपल लिखो. Right? Try to write simple words, let's say. When we try to pick up some jargons and tough words, very lofty type of words, तो there can be challenge. उससे ये होगा कि वर्ड्स, आपका लैंग्वेज जो होगा वर्ड्स पे आ जाएगा, ना कि लैंग्वेज पे आ जाएगा ना. राइट. तो वी कैन आर्टिकुलेट इन सिंपल वे इन योर वर्ड्स. आपके पास जो भी वर्ड्स है, जो भी लैंग्वेज है, आप उसी में लिखने की कोशिश करो. देखो, ऐसे इज नॉट डिमांडिंग स्कॉलरली राइटिंग, दैट यू शुड नो दैट. This marks people have secured even if they have very normal writing standard. So simple writing will do this. Yes. Any other question? Any other challenge? Yes. The next thing is that let's say that how many essays should practice? What should be your strategy? Let's say if you are writing mains this year, it depends. See, let's say yes, how much comfortable you are in writing essay, and at least let's say that when we can consider like minimum 5 essays you should practice. Standard can be 10, 12 essays should be practiced this way. Then try to start with simple. Since we are talking about main, so certainly no one is basically novice or beginner. Right? When we take September time, when I take class essay, I start with very basics, which is a bit, let's say, but here we took with certain level. Because you are going to write, we presume you are going to write mains, or from mains standard it is desired. So the question is that write any, if you have not written essay, suppose first time you are writing, write any topic which you feel comfortable this way. Then most of the practice should be on the area you have prepared or we expect. As we told that we can expect from knowledge thought they have asked, rationality, ethics, morality, values. Then we can expect love or joy side, power, courage, character. This, that way. But since truth and wisdom, they have been very recurring, so we cannot leave, let's say UPSC, you know that, this way. So basically you practice on the areas which are either your strength or the we expect ki questions are most recurring themes you should practice. This. Then at least 1 or 2 essay you should write which are not of your choice. Right. Means write one essay which you find very difficult. You are not comfortable. Because suppose that in 8 options are in section B, section A, you don't have a choice. Then how you write? At least that experience should also be there. Right. So that is how you can, let's say that have practice and prepare yourself. Next is that as far as what we have done is that each day we have a theme and one essay writing. That writing is basically from I think 4 o'clock. No, 4 to 5:30. 1.5 hour. Right. So 1.5 hour we have given for one essay writing. And then we will discuss it because ultimately strategy is one thing. Writing is altogether another thing. We learn more by writing practice rather than by strategy. Why? As I told you that even if without a strategy, you can write a good essay. That way. It is more about practice. So on that essay we will discuss, and with that we will discuss those themes we will cover. Right. In 4 days we have divided, that is 4, but it will be covered in 3 days. 1 day we have kept for this. Because this is not that important, already you have knowledge. Right. So generally we give, let's say that 2 topics, in that you write on one. That way. And then it is evaluated same day. It will not be possible because we have the discussion. But yes, you will be given next day before you write your test. You will get your copy evaluated. You will get it. Then on that also we can have feedback, one-to-one, etc. Since it is not still, let's say, although from next week most of the programs is going to commence, but still we can give you some time. That's why we have designed in first week here. We can give some time and you can have interaction and feedback, and that way you will try to improve. This is how our approach. Right. So any other question? So we'll finish here. Yes. So we have prepared this year as a model answer, let's say that, which will be given to you those who are on online. We will mail it. You can check your mail, and you can take those who are in offline. They try to understand that already you may have read them. Right? Read them just to learn it. That brainstorm it. What else or what any other thing I could have brought in my essay, what I was missing, right? How we can transition this, how some of the examples, quotations we can bring, In some essay we have tried to follow pastel, in some essay we have tried to follow deep here, and two essays we have kept it very simple, narrow. Right. In different essay we have given a different approach. Don't take it as an answer, let's say. The content is more designed to learn from this. Some tables are also given which you cannot make in your essay, and some points are also given which you cannot write in your essay. As far as these things are concerned, कि right क्या points में होना चाहिए, headings होना चाहिए, right? So no, it is not. Let's say that some people do write, but let's say कि we don't tell to write headings, because once you write headings, na, it creates, let's say that it breaks your preceding succeeding paragraph. It breaks your flow. You can consider this. हेडिंग से मार्क्स नहीं मिलेगा. ऐसा मत सोचो कि एग्जामिनर को दिख नहीं रहा है कि आप क्या लिख रहे हो. दिस एग्जामिनर को हेडिंग से नहीं दिखेगा, जो हिडन है उससे दिखेगा. बिकॉज इट इज ऐसे. आप ऐसे कैसे समझ, व्हेन वी चेक कॉपीज एटसेट्रा ना, तो हम पूरा ऐसे आपका पढ़ लेते हैं एक बार, फिर देखते हैं कि एग्जैक्टली आपने लिखा क्या है. वो डिसाइड करता है. तो वेदर यू हैव सम स्टूडेंट्स सिंपली फेल टू अंडरस्टैंड द एसे, सम स्टूडेंट उनको जॉय का ही मीनिंग नहीं पता है, राइट. विजडम ही नहीं लिखा. क्वेश्चन इज विजडम फाइंड्स ट्रूथ, बट विजडम ही नहीं है उसमें. दिस, तो देयर कैन बी डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम्स. लेट्स द हेडिंग इज नॉट ए प्रॉब्लम. दिस, दैट इज हाउ लेट्स से दैट कि यू शुड नॉट बी. Another aspect is brainstorming, whether you do brainstorming. Do you do brainstorming? Brainstorming should be done. So how much time you give for brainstorming? Yes? Yes, we do not have that much time, yes, but brainstorming should be done. When you do brainstorming, तो स्ट्रक्चर जैसे कि यू यूज इट, जैसे अभी तो मान लो वी हैव टोल्ड दैट स्ट्रक्चर, सो अकॉर्डिंगली लेट्स से दैट कि यू कैन राइट कि दिस, तो यू कैन स्ट्रक्चर इन दैट वे, एंड इन दिस लेट्स से कि यू कैन प्लान कि व्हाट शुड बी, इवन व्हेन यू आर राइटिंग हियर, तो यू कैन टेक दिस and what I will write in this. That is how it is. But the most important aspect of your brainstorming is what is the central meaning of this, what exactly it is demanding, to what extent I have to elaborate it, and in that elaboration what will be the most important aspect, what will be the key factor that will be deciding my essay as good or not. This way. So truth knows no color. This you can say that. So the deciding factor is that ki you will have to tell this, the truth knows no color, so why, and in that ki other side ki why truth has colors. This, and when truth has colors, इसलिए कि फर्स्ट पार्ट तो बहुत अच्छा लिख देंगे लोग, लिखने वाले. सेकेंड पार्ट, ट्रूथ नोज कलर्स, राइट. कलर्स में रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन भी आएगा, पोस्ट ट्रूथ वर्ल्ड भी आएगा, राइट. तो टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट यू जनरेट दिस थिंकिंग, लेट्स से द रेंज, राइट, दैट विल बी योर्स. दैट इज हाउ इट डिसाइड्स. तो that way we can consider when we are talking, when we have brainstorming. The brainstorming should be done to know this. Plus, let's say that ki how you can bring diverse things in your essay, how I can diversify historical, sociological, psychological, sports, nation, world, this aspect. See, some of the essays will be more applied in nature as we take war, etc. But so there you can write more examples in that way. But when the topic is more philosophical type, so you should try to find the examples suiting to that aspect. This. That way, let's say when you are writing, you can diversify, etc. You can do. And how to ensure differences in two essay, we write it. तो ये भी प्रॉब्लम होता है, because let's say कि asking कि how to show differences in two essay, what do you mean? This we have written 4 to 5 times, right? 4 to 5 essay writing, 4 to 5 essay open to all. No, it is not open. In a structure, he is saying, let's say, how to show differences. The one you can find, try to understand. See, it is not necessary to write all. Same thing, it is not necessary to write all that pastel part. How can you show difference? You can write global, national, local. You can bring gender also. Depending on the suitability topic, let's say that. The gender aspect you can also write this. So this we can consider. In other, you can focus philosophical, humanistic, psychological, administrative, this way. So that is how, if you want to maintain difference, you can create difference like this. Right? So that is how we'll finish here. So all the best for your mains. Right. And best wishes for your prelims to qualify when results come, right? And practice, learn. That is how we can talk on this. Shall we finish? Right? Okay.